Welcome to Kranky Live, the show where bold minds meet real talk. This isn't your average sports or news show. It's where we break down sports, culture, and controversy with facts, fire, and fearless honesty. Here, truth cuts through the noise and hype gets exposed. From football to track and field, from world issues to local debates, we ask the tough questions, speak without fear, and go deeper than the headlines. We don't follow the crowd, we set the trend. While others recycle the same tired takes, we bring fresh insight, unfiltered analysis, and bold perspectives. No echo chambers, no puppet talk, just real conversation for people who think for themselves. Listen with your brain, not just your ears. Think critically, question boldly, and speak freely. This is Kranky Live, where reason rules the mic and truth always wins. Come on, let's get into it. Hello. Can you hear me? Those of you out there in YouTube land, I see Jargons was here early. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me, people, before I start the program. I'm getting no responses. That's not a good thing. My mute button is off. Hey, Jargons, are you there? I know you were here earlier. Tell me, say, I'll wait. I'm getting no response. Let me ask you them, can you hear me? I'm having some problems here, it looks. I don't know if people can hear me. I'm not getting any responses. I'm good? All right, cool. I have to check first, because can't be here talking to myself like a madman. So good night, everyone. Thanks for being here. Before we jump to the two main topics for the evening, I have to do my little roundup of news for the day. Today, I just saw where President of the United States, Donald Trump, is going to be implementing his tariffs across the board. Man, love trouble. Tariffs mean inflation. Tariffs mean more costs are good to them. Inflation. They're bragging about how many billions they have made, but the billions on the back of Americans. So I'm not sure what the logic is actually. Good evening, Ted Dexter. How you doing? Farmer, Odell, Damian, Stefan, Brown Sugar, Jay Thomas, and as I said, Jargons came here early. Thanks everyone for being here. First of all, people, this is one of those evenings where I am going to be monitoring very closely the likes versus the attendees, because I did put up, when I spend time putting up my poll, the objective is to remind you when you come in the chat to hit the like button, because you wouldn't be here if you don't like the program. That's my opinion anyway. I don't think you're like MAGA supporters who I think done for punishment and are misused and abused. So my request is that you hit the like button, because the like button drives, as they tell me, the algorithm, which I know nothing about, and allows other people to watch the program. So please hit the like button. Bless up, El Granjero. Thanks for being here. Stets. Conroy, bless up. Thanks for being here. So a couple of things before I jump into the two main topics. One is Tesla reported two of its worst quarters ever. And I am happy, but not so happy about that. What do I mean? Well, I'm not so happy because, we associate Tesla with Musk, who I truly abhor, to be honest, the way he's operated. But there are a lot of people who work for Tesla who have nothing to do with Musk. They're just having a job. And when you go down the line of the people who are involved in Tesla, the whole Tesla environment, there's a lot of people who get employed. So when a company has troubles, those people get affected, as we'll talk about with SportsMax. So it's not only people who are in the spotlight, like Tesla and his board, a lot of people get affected, families get affected negatively. So that's not a good thing. But if it means the board should get rid of Musk, to be honest, they should, but they won't, because a lot of them are his friends. And part of the problem that he faces is, first of all, yeah, significant competition from BYD, who is actually has affiliates in Jamaica, and is probably now the number one electric car company in the world, probably subsidized by the Chinese government, as most of those industries are in China. So it's very challenging. Trump is going to eliminate the $7,500 tax credit. So if you buy a Tesla for $70,000, you're never going to take off $7,500. That goes away. That erodes it. Trump is going to reduce the fines he placed on emissions that Biden had put in place around, vehicle emissions for manufacturers. So that also drives the competition between electric vehicles and gas motored vehicles. And Europe, especially, and a number of countries in the world are not having Musk and Tesla. I think Europe was one of the first region which basically reduced significantly the number of Tesla they acquire. And if you transition that back to the US, if you're Democratic inclined, you may also not buy Teslas just because of Musk. So he got problems. And then last but not least, in terms of general news, well, two more things. One is there's a judge today that put a ban on Trump's executive order about birthright citizenship. I can't believe a country is in the world where you're born in that country and they want to deny you citizenship, even though your parents may not be citizens. I find that to be ridiculous. And I don't know where the U.S. is going with all of this, but it's not a good place. One thing it does take away, though, is the U.S.'s hypocrisy as being the world's morality police. That nonsense is going through the door. It never has been. It plays that role. But that's now gone out the door because people realize that was a fraud and that was fallacy. It wasn't facts. It's nonsense. Bless up, Money Pro. Thanks for being here. And big deal, Ian. Brian Burke, bless up. And God bless. So it's interesting. And then last but not least, I'm going to transition from sort of more world events to football. I've been watching the transfer window intently, given that my team, Arsenal, has a number of potential acquirees out there, but also looking at what other teams are doing, because you have to know the teams around you, what they're doing and how that will have implications for your team. So Man U over there has some money problems, even though they're probably one of the biggest clubs, maybe second or third biggest club in the world. They're challenged with their resources. And I hear they're having more cutback and I'm going to call almost like incidental expenses as they go forward. Liverpool is in a great place. They shopped early, acquired early, and they won last year. So they're in a great place. We have go to Tottenham, who have been very quiet, but now very loud. They bought Kudus from West Ham. Good purchase. All those wingers have been bought in the 50 to 60 mil range. I think Brentford won 60 something plus for Mbueno, but Elanga went for 55. I think Chelsea probably want the same for Madueke, who we're pursuing. João Pedro went for the 55 region. So it's very similar in terms of what price range people are putting for wingers, even though the skill set and the abilities of them are, and Kudus about 55. I think Kudus is better than Madueke, and he's better than Elanga. Elanga only scored about 6 goals last year. I don't know how we come up with this pricing, right? But Arsenal is pursuing Madueke, and people are saying it's a really bad decision. I think there are a lot of people, they're running banners and things online about him not joining us. But I think it's unfair to the player, and he has to take down his social media setup. Yeah, Tottenham is buying Kudus and Morgan Gibbs-White, who I think are very, very good players, and will help Tottenham quite a bit. Now, it'd be interesting to see where they play, even though they have Madison and Johnson, a bunch of other players. So, but everybody who are playing Champions League and playing 50 to 60 games a year want to have cover in every position. And we're the same. We bought Zubimendi, we bought Norgard, we brought in Kepa. We're now pursuing Madueke. We're trying to get Gokeres. We're trying to get Mascara. We're trying to get, we may try to get Eze. And there's a lot of talk about Rodrigo. So we have a lot of money. We have, our commercial revenues have gone up significantly. I think we're in the 700 million range in terms of revenues, but the salaries are going up. So interesting to see where we are as related to PSR. And the way you figure PSR is, it depends on how long the contracts are. That's why Chelsea does these long contracts, so they can spread the amount you pay out over a number of years and reduce the current year's financial implications. Kranky must be the biggest Chelsea hater in the world. No, I'm not a Chelsea hater, actually. I don't even think about Chelsea. My focus now is Liverpool. It's not Chelsea. Liverpool is a competition, not Chelsea. Yes, Brian Burke. I don't understand Brian Burke. First of all, I am not never Madueke. There are a lot of people who are never Madueke. I am not. I view Madueke like I view Raya with Ramsdale. A little bit different because it's not like he's replacing somebody. But I wasn't a Ramsdale supporter. I thought Ramsdale made too many mistakes. He just didn't get punished. And when he got acquired, all these Arsenal fans were losing their mind. Now he's the best thing since sliced bread. I think Madueke is a very good player. He can play on the right or left. I think he'll take, frankly, Martinelli's game eventually, even though it's not on his stronger side. I need to back up Saka, which is really, really good. So you need at least two players in each position. And Arteta overplays his players. So no, he has no excuse for not playing these players. But why we think that we have the right to abuse players in the way that has happened with Madueke is beyond me. First of all, he can ask to come to Arsenal. We're pursuing him. So why do you know what? People are abusing the kid. It's ridiculous. He's 23 years old. Like, I don't know. And here's what's funny. When Xhaka was at Arsenal and he was playing a game and they were urging him to get off the field and he said them to go, you know what? People hated him from then. Never wanted him to play for Arsenal. Killed him. So the fans can take abuse, but they love to give abuse. Yeah, I saw something where it say he signed, but I was looking for Fabrizio to say something. If Fabrizio doesn't say it's done, it's not done to me. So I haven't seen Fabrizio. Bless up Johnny Powell. People, 91 in the chat, 50 likes. So I'm going to take a break until you increase the likes number. That don't work for me. You came in, you saw the button, you skipped it. So I'm going to skip you if you have a minute to. Now drink some water. Come people, hit the like button. Stop me miserable, man. Hit the like button before I jump into two subjects. Hit the like button, people. Hit the like button. You can't just, here's my frustration with you guys. Not the ones who are my regulars who hit the like button. The ones who don't. Here's my frustration. If I spend half my day trying to get ready for a program and I come here, I think it's actually inappropriate for you not to hit the like button. I'm dead serious. And I've always said this. If you don't like the program, do not attend the program. Leave the program alone. Go back to where you are. Go watch somebody else. No, seriously, I'm dead serious about that. Because you're taking money out of my pocket, even though it's not a lot of money. I'm thinking I make about $1 an hour. So I'm going to be miserable and say that. If you don't like the program, then leave. I have no problem with that. I'm not going to be mad at you. If you don't want to hit the like button and you don't like the program, then leave the program. Go watch somebody else. Don't watch me. Or don't watch my program. Okay, you're not really watch me. I want to watch man. But because I get annoyed with that. Now, if you don't like the program, it's a different story. You can hit the dislike button too. If you don't like it, hit the like button and leave. I have no problem with that. But do not come here and just sit and take in my hard work and then you don't want to give me anything that'll help me generate revenues. I said yesterday, I spend more money doing this than I make from this by a good distance. When you buy all the apparatus that you buy and time you spend. And that doesn't include the time I spend. So don't get me miserable, people. If you don't want to hit the like button and you're here, please leave the chat. I have no problem you leaving the chat. Right? And people are going to say, Kranky, that's rude. Then if you think it's rude, then you're being rude to me. Seriously. Anyway, let me get into these two stories and stop my miserableness. So tonight we're going to talk about two main topics. One is the official shutdown of SportsMax, which is once a vital Caribbean media institution. And secondly, what I deem to be the continued targeting of Mason Greenwood by segments of traditional media. And we see the Jamaica traditional media now being part of that group doing that. Thank you, Omar. Appreciate it, sir. Bless up Sherman Scott. So on July 8th, Digital announced it would shut down SportsMax by August 8th. So in less than a month before it goes away. And it cited a strategic realignment towards business-to-business services like cybersecurity, cloud computing, and digital transformation. So it wants to go more into the technology space and more of its core business and basically eliminate its media business. Now, SportsMax was founded in 2002 as the first sort of 24-hour Caribbean sports channel. Digital acquired majority ownership in 2014 through acquisition of what we call international media content. And then obviously this year they're pulling the lever as what they deem to be a strategic pivot away from consumer-facing media. Hey, Mr. Chen, thanks a lot for the super chat. Appreciate it. Thanks for the super chat. They basically indicate that they're focusing their resources where they see long-term growth, enterprise IT services, and exiting era where profitability is no longer sustainable. So they're basically saying sports media is not profitable. They have to move on. And you can't beat companies who have shareholders who are trying to generate revenues and generate profitability when they've done a business for a while, because they've been doing it since 2014. So they've been there 11 years, and 12 years before that it was founded. And the question is, why did SportsMax fail? All right, which is an important question, because businesses fail for different reasons. The first reality is sort of what I call market reality. The Caribbean market is small and fragmented. That means it's split into different pieces to it. And SportsMax operates in about 20 territories and with relatively low per capita and spending, but they had revenue challenges. All right. And my concern about this discontinuance of this platform, and I'll go to some of the other challenges, as I mentioned with Tesla, is the people who get affected. So what we see most times are the individuals who are front for the company, right? You see people like Chambers, for example, all the media personnel, what the sports decks. What you don't see is all the people behind the scenes who make the engine go, who run the cameras, or the production personnel. And there are a lot of number of individuals who get affected, and they have families, and it's their source of resource, and they get affected materially. So some of these media personnel would just go out and get another job someplace, especially the ones who are very good like Chambers. But what happens to all those other people, since we have a significant now reduction in one media outlet, and it's not like there's pervasive number of media outlets in Jamaica or in the Caribbean for others to go to. Now, from a revenue standpoint, they had revenue challenges. They had declining advertising revenue, right? A lot of sponsors now are shifting their, I wouldn't say dollars because you can have pound, they're shifting their funding and their monies to social media influencers, YouTubers, etc. And also the cost of broadcasting rights. So if you have rights to do Premier League, NBA, Champs, World Cup, those are going through the roof. Because sports is the one thing which is not going south, it's going north. And therefore, as such, if your revenues are declining and your costs increasing, that's a recipe for failure. And then what we also have is changing customer habits. So think about it. You guys are here with me tonight watching this program. A number of you are not watching SportsMax, right? So viewers are moving to YouTube, TikTok, free streaming. They're not watching traditional cable. And traditional cable is under pressure. For cable, for a lot of cable companies, they look at things that they provide access to the internet. Otherwise, some of them probably out of business. Because TV program is not what it used to be. It's very distributed. It's very decentralized. And it's not before we go in front of your TV to go watch a program and you have to watch what the broadcaster is providing. Today, it's a more niche market. You're going to watch what you want to watch when you want to watch it. And cable have a structure and standard and protocols it follows, which doesn't marry to today's environment where you're moving, you're mobile, and you want to take your content with you, and you want to watch it when you want to watch it. Right? So audience prefer more interactive, on-demand over sort of traditional cable broadcasts. Bless up, Mr. M. Thanks for being here. And then you can think about operational costs, satellite link, licensing fees, studio production, infrastructure maintenance. It's a lot. And then there's competition, right? So digital for SportsMax would be Flow, ESPN Caribbean, other independent platform. So there's a lot of factors you need to think about as you assess why a sports programming or a media outlet may eventually fail or may not do as well as it used to in the past because habits have changed. And it shows you it's about the viewership. Habits have changed. So I'd love to get your perspective actually on this. What you guys' views on this, because it does take a lot away if you just think about it. Because there's a lot of impact on the Caribbean, right? You want to watch Issa, boys. There's one more thing I didn't mention, which is what I call free streaming IPTV. I think IPTV has had a material effect on all media outlets across the globe. Material impact. People can watch things free. Why should they pay for it? Some people cut off their cable because they have IPTV. And I also wonder why I'm paying so much money. I think I pay a lot of money for cable actually. Which probably in today's environment, given you could get YouTube TV, which I probably will go to eventually, you could lessen your costs. Rich Toy says, I don't watch SportsMax because their content doesn't seem to be neutral. They are like most traditional media, always biased to one thing or another. Well, we can say that about a lot of different forums, right? In today's environment, people are very parochial. They like what they like who they like, and they're going to talk about what they want to talk about that satisfies their narrative. All right, so, but if you think about Caribbean Impact, Carifta, Champs, a lot of the major sports, that's SportsMax. That's an issue. Who's going to replace them? If you have fewer platforms, then costs may go up for consumers because you can afford to price things at a certain level. And if you raise the cost, people just like, you know what? Discontinue because they'll find alternatives to provide them with what they require in terms of sports. So the question is, who's going to fill the void left by SportsMax for the Caribbean? And part of the problem for the Caribbean is, there's about 40-something million people across the Caribbean, I think there is. It's a very small market. The US has 330 million plus people. China 1.5. The UK across Britain has about 60-something million. So the Caribbean, and then you talk about not only the size of your population, but the resources that you have in your region. All right? So a lot there. There's a Kranky. Amazon was just bidding to get NBA rights in a time of free sites. It's still profitable if market right. If they have more fans, integrated fans, like interaction, like your show. Yeah, and look, I think a lot of those companies like Amazon and Apple, which are in traditional media, realize that sports is the key thing, which is live, which they can leverage for a lot of their programming. It's like leading to different programs that they want you to watch. But it's a very distributed world. So it makes it very challenging for any media outlet to be successful when there is so much competition. And also, here's the problem people don't realize, especially for sports media and talk media. We have a plethora of persons now who have left traditional media and have their audience, who people like, who are not doing sports, right? So you may just want to watch a live event and not listen to some cable television show providing sports talk, because you may not respect those persons or you prefer who you prefer, right? So if you're Stephen A. Smith, for example, you're at ESPN, but you still have your own program. But some like a Joy Reid would have gotten fired from MSNBC, or a Don Lemon from CNN. They have their own program. They're generating hundreds of thousands or millions of views, and they probably make as much money or more money than they were when they were not independent. Very distributed environment. And you can watch those programs when you want to watch it. You can watch it on the go, or you can watch it subsequent to it taking place. So, yeah. Here's the question, though, in terms of the future of media in the region. Will independent creators rise? So YouTubers and sports influencers are already gaining ground. Can they lead the next wave? And I think you'll see a lot of that, actually. And there's also opportunities for federations. So whether it's cricket, basketball, football, like the JFF, and the JFF started doing that with their own channel. The question for them is, can they create their own media content, including live events, games, and distribute that? I hear Simon Jordan, who's in the UK, and his own Crystal Palace talk about he would have expected the EPL to not go to traditional broadcasting, but to create their own digital streaming service and broadcast their games. And his philosophy is, or his perspective is, if you charge $1 per game and you have 2 billion people watching every weekend, just multiply that number and it's a huge number, much bigger than what they get currently today. Now, I'm not sure you get 2 billion people to watch your programming, but there is logic to it. The question is, what's the cost of the infrastructure to get you there? Because it does take resources and capital. And is it just maintenance after that? But one of the questions you have to ask yourself is now, as I mentioned before, is producers, journalists, camera crews, will they be absorbed in a job someplace, or are they going to be jobless? And they have families and they have bills that they have to pay. So very concerned for those individuals, and have empathy for them and hope they land on their feet because it's tough. Stead says, I think SportsMax cover too much sport that's not viewed by the mass. Yeah, but the problem that you have is if you build yourself as a 24-hour sports organization, there's only so much sports to fill that 24 hours, 7 days a week, right? It becomes challenging. And that's why they had to operate the way they did. It is very difficult not to carry sports, which are not the main sport. You can only show so much athletics, basketball, football, even NFL. After a while, you run out of sports. They used to start to show the rugbies of the world and cycling and all that. And a lot of people are not buying into those sports. So that makes it difficult. So I feel for the people at SportsMax, and my hope is that they'll land on their feet. Oda said, Kranky, one problem YouTubers are still facing Jamaica media is lack of sponsorship. These companies in Jamaica still believe in doing ads on TV and radio instead of YouTubers having a work wide out. Yeah, and I think YouTubers themselves have to take some responsibility for what's transpiring, right? A number of them have professionalized themselves. So, when YouTubers first started and even in today's environment, people just go what I call willy-nilly. They just do something and hope it works, right? They do something and hope it works. But SportsMax, Digicel, we think about things like Champs now for SportsMax carrying it. It's not a good look, people. It's not a good look. It's a tough environment. And you do ask the question as to where we go from here. But as I said before, YouTubers can create their content, and that the YouTubers should realize that because the environment is so distributed, and because there's so much niche in the environment, it's an opportunity for them, right? One man's downfall is somebody else's benefit. So SportsMax going into business create the need for, what are people going to replace it with? Those who used to, bless chorus, who used to follow SportsMax a lot, what are they going to replace SportsMax with? That's the question, right? So we'll have to see what happens going forward. Rich Toy says, too often, SportsMax will bring in so-called experts who brought no real insight that I would consider valuable. Yeah, that's an interesting comment, actually. And I've seen even SportsMax, I remember SportsMax, but like CVM would have one or two once in a while YouTubers on to talk about, for example, like football. But yeah, I don't know how many employees they had. Princess Jillian, I assume it's quite a bit if you just think about journalists, camera crew, production people. But I don't know what the numbers are. But they also served the entire Caribbean. So it was a big organization. Ted Dexter says, someone start their own YouTube channel. Yes, and the good thing, if you think about Oral Maverick Tracy, for example, even though he doesn't do live YouTube shows, he does put out content. He put out videos regularly. And I'm going to talk about him tonight, as it seems to be is a theme nowadays. But sometimes there's restrictions on those individuals when they're employed by an organization in terms of what they can say in the public domain, right? Because they have to be very careful. And maybe that's why Maverick doesn't do live shows, because he has a live radio program. So there's no logic for him not to do live YouTube shows, actually, because he has a radio program that's live. Princess Julian says those employees may continue their own with a Caribbean YouTube channel. I'm sure the hosts have a following by now. Yeah, no, Ricardo Chambers and others, I'm sure they'll have following. I'm sure they probably do their own thing. Their main focus probably will be to find a job in another institution. And then subsequently, they may think about if their contract allows them to start their own YouTube channel. Princess Julian said they can capitalize on that following and immediately start their own channel. Hopefully, there's no NDA type agreement to stop them. Yeah, so it would be a situation where if they go to CVM or TVJ or any of those channels, what do they allow them to do? Because employers don't something want that conflict of you having your own program, unless you have the clout like a Stephen A. Smith. You can do that, but most people can't do that, right? They have to stick to what they're doing. But there's so many successful YouTubers who have transitioned from traditional media that it's not a shock that it wouldn't be shocking to see a number of them, like a Ricardo, for example, who's very knowledgeable, start their own program. What a description, Odell. What a description. No, I think SportsMax had good journalists. They had good journalists. I wasn't totally happy sometimes when they conduct certain interviews, but in general, I thought they added value. I thought they did a pretty decent job, and they will be missed, regardless of how much we want to focus on other areas. They'll be missed. Yeah. So going forward, the question now arises is, who will take their place? Part of the concern I have is this, people. So we have ESPN Caribbean. We don't want those large global conglomerate to just dominate the space, right? We work hard for our resources, and then they dominate the space. And then you have no influence but what content is put out there. Even though Digital is not really a Caribbean-owned company. But yeah. Interesting. Now we'll transition to the Greenwood saga. Spend half hour. This is only going to be an hour, probably hour and a half show. We're going to transition from a difficult situation for personnel working at SportsMax to an interesting saga that keeps on rumbling on. And this is about Mason Greenwood. Now, I was watching SportsMax, which is interesting, and they had a communication around Mason Greenwood now being eligible to play for the Reggae Boys, which we all know, given that we keep up to date with what's transpiring. And part of that dialogue, so it was a SportsMax. By the way, this picture came from SportsMax. I'm going to play some verbiage. It's also SportsMax verbiage, so I'm giving them credit for their verbiage. But LeJay Williams, who's on the right, because we'll talk about Maverick too, had some comments, I'm going to say anti-Greenwood comments, which we'll listen to. And then Maverick made a video where he talked about that he's tired of Greenwood, basically. Right? Now, let's do some little recap on Greenwood, for those some of you may not know about this. In 2022, Greenwood was arrested on suspicion of assault of his then girlfriend, who I now believe is maybe his wife or significant other. In 23, the authorities in Manchester, England, dropped all charges, citing withdrawn witnesses and new evidence. Now, what that evidence is, I don't know. At the same time, so Greenwood had no criminal conviction. At the same time, Manchester United also did their own due diligence, had their findings, and were actually going to, I believe, exonerate him. So they're sort of positioning themselves to exonerate him based on their findings. And when he was initially arrested and on suspicion of assault, he was suspended from Manchester United, right? Now, Man U came out. They did the investigation, due diligence. They were sort of trying to position the media where they're coming out. But their supporters, especially the women, weren't having it. But it's the women's Man U team, or a number of females in the UK, they were not having Greenwood being allowed to go back to Man U. Now, there were some very damning pictures that the person who was supposedly assaulted, and I have to say supposedly people because I have no facts about this in terms of what transpired. We don't know. We can only see the pictures. There were some damning pictures on social media, which I had played in one of my previous, I showed in one of my previous shows about what transpired. And she was bloody and sort of indicated that he was the one who assaulted her. So Man U suspended him and never brought him back because the uproar in England was so strong, they didn't think there was a way back for him. He was loaned to Gaddafi in Spain, played really well, and then got a permanent transfer to Marseille in France. And his initial experience in France wasn't good because there were protests about him joining and the mayor there had something negative. But as normally the case, performances can win over people. He's in a better place now. He was a joint top scorer in the French League, Division 1 this year. Played really well, over 20 goals, a number of assists. Even though he's having some problems with De Zerbi, who's the manager who brought him there. But the point is that he was never convicted, except in the court of public opinion, which I find really interesting. He's together now with the person he supposedly assaulted. They have kids, and they're together. But in the public domain, he still hasn't been forgiven. Now, the British headlines frame Greenwood with stories with guilt, even post-acquittal headlines like Greenwood controversy returns or Greenwood sparks outrage. And some people believe that there is some element of persuasion, I'm going to call it, involved in terms of how you treat one demographics versus others, right? That's part of the narrative in terms of how he's treated. Obviously, he's blocked from England, didn't select him to play for the national team. They never really provided any rationale. When the coach was asked, he just didn't provide good perspective as to whether or not Green would ever be selected for England, right? So he was in limbo. And the question that's been asked is, if the courts don't condemn him, why do journalists and the public act like judge and jury? Because we have a system of law. And the system of law does penalize those who've been charged and found guilty. But if he hasn't, then why are we penalizing him? Now, as I mentioned before, Leje Williams, who's on SportsMax as an analyst, had some interesting comments. Let me try to find it and play it. And as I said, I got this verbiage from SportsMax. I hope I'm playing the right one.
Won't he saga concerning Marseille attacker Mason Greenwood representing Jamaica is finally over. This as president of the Jamaica Football Federation, Michael Ricketts, has confirmed that he is now eligible to play for the team as early as the final round of CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers, which begin in September. Many people have been looking forward to Greenwood's addition to the team, and here to give his 2 cents on the matter is our in-house football analyst, Leje Williams. Welcome to the show, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Love having you on the set.
Thanks, guys. I feel alone.
Yes. Having said that, though, would this be the biggest acquisition by the management of the national football team, Mason Greenwood, coming to Jamaica?
Well, before I answer your question, I would like to firstly say, in my opinion, Leje Williams, I am against the move solely because Leje Williams, not the thought of anyone else, I don't support any man who abuses women, and it's something that I've been meaning to say, of course, and I personally am against Mason Greenwood representing Jamaica. Am I still going to support Jamaica, the country of my birth, and where I've lived all my life, of course, but I never have been particularly comfortable with him coming into the setup. But with that being said, I don't control who comes into the setup. So to answer your question, yes, it is the biggest move that Jamaica has ever made. I think it's probably the first time that Jamaica has had a proper world-class talent in its ranks.
I'm not going to ignore the elephant in the room, the statement that you made earlier. Because I guess the question that a lot of football fans would ask would be, when does the punishment end for him, based on the fact that he would have lost so much, the fact that the person that he allegedly abused married him and they have a child. When would it end for the football world to really accept him and say, you've made up on the issue personally, it's time for you to concentrate on the football?
I mean, it's difficult to say. One, we can't say, because at the end of the day, none of us know these people. None of us know the basis of their relationship.
Right.
I'm not going to comment on that, but everything that we've seen so far, and the only thing that we have seen from them is
the voice notes and the pictures.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's the only thing I can comment on personally. Anything that they do afterwards, human relationships are far more complex than just the fact that because they're married now means that everything is rosy dandy between them. So I can't comment on that, of course. I can only comment on the fact that he did what he did. And I would just say that, yes, people would love to say that football is a separate matter, but there's a reason why he isn't playing for the country of his birth. And the reason why is because of that incident or incidents. And I think it's almost a little bit embarrassing that Jamaica took that opportunity to get him into the setup.
Do you think that there is an opportunity then for him to make the situation right as far as perception is concerned ahead of his move to Jamaica and representing the black, green, and gold? And would that help in the discourse? Probably not changing your mind specifically, but would it help the discourse?
I think, once again, because the last time I made a general statement about Jamaican fandom when it comes on to football, and when we're speaking about Leon Bailey, now I think, based on everything that I've seen, being a football fan, being just a person in the streets, going to football stadiums, so on and so forth, I think that Mason Greenwood is generally pretty much accepted in the Jamaican football landscape. I was just saying it from my point of view. I'm not too comfortable with it. But once again, I don't make the decisions. And at the end of the day, I'm a football analyst who has a responsibility for speaking about football. So I was just voicing my personal opinions, but that doesn't have anything to do with the football and the pitch, which I'll probably...
Which I'm going to ask you about now.
Hopefully have to speak about in the future.
Which I'm going to ask you about now, because does he make the Reggae Boys better? Let's talk about him as a footballer now, what he brings to the team.
Yeah, of course. I mean, as I said, he's the first real, in my opinion, maybe Sir Lance will have, other players from way before I was born to draw on, but in my opinion, I think he's the first real world-class talent that Jamaica has ever had. When it comes on to Greenwood, he is a fantastic attacker all across the front line, very two-footed, a scorer of goals, a scorer of great goals, important goals, was just the joint leading goal scorer in Ligue 1, the French First Division. So he's not like Leon Bailey, where Leon Bailey was a good performer in the English Premier League before, or like a Demarai Gray, who was a relatively good performer as well. He's one of the top talents in world football, and a lot of that reputation was scuppered because of the incident, because I'm sure if he was still at his hometown club, Manchester United, injuries permitting and everything else permitting, he would be seen and would be playing for England, because that's the talent that he is. So football-wise, on the pitch, it's obviously a really big deal for Jamaica to get his services.
Yeah, well, we're going to just switch it up now quickly from this segment.
So that was Jay Williams and his perspective. Put him back up again. The Jay Williams, his perspective on Greenwood. Let me pull out a couple things that I think he sort of touched upon, which I want to touch upon, which I find interesting. So I'll take him down now, and I'll put up Maverick later, because we'll approach Maverick comments that Maverick made. He said he doesn't support men who abuse women, which I think we all should agree with. So I know a lot of you will just come down hard on the person. It's his people. Let me just say this, people. It's his perspective, right? It's his perspective, it's his view. We don't live in a monolithic society. We can't tell people how to think and how to feel. It's his view. A lot of us may not agree with his view, but it's his view. So give him the right to express himself. And it takes a lot to come out in a public domain where you know your view is not well supported. Your view is anti what the general public may think, but still have the wherewithal and still have the gumption to go out and say it. Let's be fair, right? He said what he had to say. We may not agree with it. For some people, he's affecting the person coming to join the Reggae Boys in Greenwood. And that may have negative implication, but it's his perspective. So let's not take one side, but you know what, this person just writes to us and they have this moral perspective. And then on the other side saying we should drown out their voice and they shouldn't speak. It's his perspective. It's his view. And it takes a lot of courage to go into public domain where you know it's not well accepted and to say that. That's one side to it. So he doesn't support men who abuse women. I am totally for that. But I'll say this though, until I have factual evidence about what transpired, I can't draw a conclusion. And I'm gonna touch upon more of that, right? I don't have any evidence about. I see pictures. The pictures look bad, but we have seen pictures before that look bad that weren't so. Right? So I don't know. The courts went through the process, even though the witnesses did not go through the process. They recanted or decided not to be available. But the court said they had new evidence to suggest they're not charging him. Right? So we live in a legal system. We have to hope the system work as it should, especially for those who are minorities. Even though we know people with certain skill set gets privileges, but we have to allow the process to work and the process work. So it's a little bit contrary to what Williams is saying, which is he doesn't have evidence about what the kid did, but he's drawing conclusion based on what's being provided and what has happened in England. He was asked the question, so when does society accept you? So you do something bad, they send you to prison, right? And you do your time and you come out and society still bans you. Are you banned for life? Are you banned for a year, 2 years, 3 years? He said he has no opinion on that. No, you can't skip out. You can't skip out, but when you come out with your perspective, which is not necessarily well accepted, and say, hey, what he did was wrong. I'm not coming to blame for Jamaica. You can't then say, oh, I don't have a view as to when he should be reacted by society. You can't do that. To me, that's not inappropriate. That's you then sidestepping the difficult question you need to ask, because maybe you don't have an answer. So maybe you shouldn't have a view if you don't have an answer. If you're saying he should be banned for life when he wasn't a killer, he didn't murder anyone, he did something, if he did it, because we don't have evidence that he did, we saw pictures, it seems really bad, and he should be punished if he did it. But the question is, should his vocation be taken away from him? Should his career be taken away from him? If you believe that. Okay, if you don't want to play for Jamaica, he can't play for Man U, he can't play for England, are you saying he should be banned for life? That's the question. So I don't think Leger can just try to skip the question by saying, I don't want to answer that. If I was interviewing him, I'd push him to say, you can't do that. You can't have a view that, you know what, you're uncomfortable, Jamaica is sorry for allowing you to play, and then say, you know what, I can't tell you when he should return to society, or should he even be allowed to perform his craft. That's not good. Then he mentioned about reason why he's not playing for England. Well, England made a decision, whatever that decision may entail. But England is also hypocritical. We know what the picture says. We know what the response was. But if you go to the court process, which Partey is going through for rape, which Mendy went through for rape, which Basuma is going through for rape, seems like there's a theme with, I'm going to digress, with African players being charged for rape by Caucasian women, because that's what it was, people, I'm telling you. And Mendy got his career destroyed when he was proven innocent. And a lot of these guys are players and they end up paying for it. He's in an environment which is not that tolerant of people who are minorities, no matter how much they've achieved. We don't want to play the race card, but it's a fact, right? Then for DJ to say it's embarrassing for him to play in Jamaica, so it's embarrassing to play in France, it's embarrassing for him to play in Spain because he played in those two countries. He can't play for them, doesn't have the heritage. They allow him to play for them because they probably think some of what's happening is bullshit. I use colloquial language, right? And he's saying Greenwood is accepting Jamaica landscape. Yeah, because people have a view that some people may think he has done his time. He was at a football for a year. He's been punished. The system says he shouldn't be punished in a traditional way because they don't have evidence for it, or witnesses may not have the individual who were witnesses who may have been asked by the courts to come and testify have decided not to do so. So how do you punish somebody when the system says they are okay and should be punished? It's very conflicting. It's very challenging. Public opinion should not be the decider of anyone's faith. That's not okay. We have a court system, and you go to the court system. Because the woman in England or the press in England says you shouldn't play, they shouldn't have that power and that authority. Sorry, they shouldn't. Now, if you have evidence to say the person did all this wrong, then figure out a way what the right punishment is and punish them. Hey, press, I want to play the thing that person. I want to play the Maverick thing, but go ahead. I'll play it afterwards.
Yeah, big up to the Liverpool man then.
Why are you bigging up Liverpool player? Why are you bigging up Liverpool? One second. People. I can't have 255 people and 156 likes. I'm not having that. I'm sorry, I'm not having that. Go ahead, Fortune. I'm not having that, people. Fortune, go ahead.
I'm not really here to talk about the Greenwood thing, right? But I just said something to somebody. Why when we disagree with other opinions, right? Why we refer to people as like fish and these stuff like that? No, in a sense, you can't have conversations like that.
Well, I think what happens is this. I think
No, you know what fish mean, right?
Yeah. I think what happens is this. People want to hit you as hard as possible, right? They want to destroy you when they come back to make sure you can't recover. And they believe using derogatory language is the best way to do so. I believe you win arguments through how you reason and your logic, and you showing the other party that when you match with two arguments, any logical person will take your side.
Listen, the guy is a good analyst, whatever, in terms of football, right? Before this situation, nobody never called him fish or anything like that. So I know that many people disagree with my opinion, but I just feel like calling him fish and anything that kind of just low. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make no sense.
Yeah, look, as I said before, it's his opinion. You can agree, disagree with it, right? He's not the only one who has that opinion, by the way. He may be the only one who's going to public domain and on those channels say that, but he's not the only one who has that opinion.
No, listen, it's in life when it comes to this situation, people always have a difference in opinion, yeah. Even if somebody is found guilty within the court, like the public will always have a different opinion. I look at Diddy, for example, and I think he was found guilty on one count, right? And I think in terms of Diddy, if he doesn't serve any time, I think people will still work with him to an extent, right?
Well, the Diddy case is, one can actually extrapolate Diddy case and say, you know what? We somehow find ways to put away those who are of minority persuasion when they may have done something wrong in the public domain. But we have people like Leon Black. People go look up Leon Black. Leon Black was involved with Epstein. Leon Black gave Epstein $150 million plus dollars. Talk about consulting services. To consult for what? Young women, allegedly. Leon Black was never given to jail. Leon Black had to resign from his company. His company investigated and said he did nothing wrong, but they can't explain why he gave him $150 million. People, we're not talking about 10 million in a presser, or 20 million, 150 million to give an individual who is known as a perennial sex offender with little girls. You should be going to jail for life. Prince Andrew, right? In England. That's why his family started pushing him away and he got banned in some respects. He was one of those individuals also. He didn't get punished. So we can pick and punish who we want to punish. We're not punished. The punishment is not even or equal across the board.
Let me ask this question. In the sense that you said we pick and punish people, right?
Yeah.
Or the media kind of highlight more like different people have different skin color, that type of thing, and brush other people under the rug. In that case, right? Why do you think Epstein was eventually like sent to jail or prison? Like, why? Even though he was with the elite, why wasn't he spared in a sense? Was he like just more like an example or whatever the case is?
Epstein was charged initially in Florida. He got some sweetheart deal and didn't get a lot of time, got out of it. He still continued to do the same thing he used to do. Obviously, eventually, those things catch up to you, right? Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Leon Black were all friends of Epstein. That's why you see magazines are all out in uproar about this list that the U.S. attorney says she had, Pam Bondi. she said she had this list, and all of a sudden there's no list. She doesn't have a list. And then she come up with some cockamamie argument about, well, I meant the files on my desk, not the list. In February, she was saying she had a list of all these, of a lot of people. That list disappeared because you know who's on that list, or who's expected, or who allegedly is on that list.
Yeah. But again, you know, they are no, so it is what it is. And I'm saying,
yeah, I think. Look,
I think the climate in Jamaica is a bit smaller compared to England in terms of like how people will perceive him. So I don't expect that if he goes to the stadium, like people will boo him or anything like that. You know, I don't see that.
But the question is though, when do I get to recover? When do I get to be received back in society?
The thing is, I think
when I was never charged or prosecuted.
But the thing is, I think to some extent he is received back in society, right? As we said initially, when he went to France, like there was an uproar. I think the mayor said something, that type of thing. But with his performances, you know, people kind of just like look past it. So in terms of him playing for Jamaica, for example, right, and playing in different respective countries, you might have one and two individuals who might make a noise, but I don't think it's anything to any extent that would affect him. You know, I know that he went back to England recently to train with some of his former United teammates. You don't really hear any trouble about anybody like.
He's not accepted back. LeJay Williams said he's not accepted back. Him came playing England. Wait. No. Him came playing England till he's not accepted back. Right? He's one of the best forwards in the world. He's not moving for 70, 80 million pounds. He's not being called by Barcelona or Real Madrid or Man U to come play for them.
I mean,
and they need a forward.
Clubs, you know. I think there's another big move in there for him in terms of like whether Spain or Germany or Italy. I think there's another big move in there for him. You know what I'm saying?
Any player, Jonathan David, any player who plays in France is 22, 23 years old and have the contributions he did would have had a big move.
Yeah, but listen, after this season, right, if he repeats his performances next season, I believe he will be moving to a different club. He might not be England, but I think Spain.
Yeah, but if you're born in Jamaica, that's like you saying Jamaica is a hotbed for talent. It has a lot of money, it has big teams, and it's where you're born, but you can't play in Jamaica.
Yeah, but listen, return to England to which club?
Any club.
Yeah, but for his profile of player and the talent that he needs a big club to win trophies and get accolades. You know
Arsenal needs somebody on the left or the right.
Kranky, you're buying Rodrigo. You already have
No. But I'm telling you, Arsenal needs some. You think Van de Beek is as good as Greenwood?
No, but I'm saying
exactly. He can't play in England. He can't play in England.
Only now we're not trophy, right?
No. It's not about us. Can't Man U use? Okay, he came from Man U. Can't Man U use Greenwood right now? Today? Yesterday?
Yes, we're saying we understand the situation. However, I'm saying I think there's still a big move in there for him. It's just not England. So you had Barcelona being linked with him. You had Real Madrid at one point. You had the likes of clubs in Italy like Napoli and some of these clubs. So I'm saying if he does repeat this season, next season, I think he will eventually leave Marseille. And you still have clubs in France as well. You know, PSG. I'm not saying PSG, but I think it's just hard to ignore his performances. So eventually, after this season, next season, if he perform again like that and even better,
yeah,
I think it's hard to keep him at Marseille. He's going to leave. You know, again, it's just not England. So I think a lot of clubs will be able to take him. But yeah.
Yeah, man. Anything else from your end?
No. Big up SportsMax.
Yeah, man. Bless up. Big up SportsMax. SportsMax out of business come August 8th. They're no longer in business. So let me play. Let me see if we can find the next video. Oh Lord. DJ Fit, how you doing? Go ahead.
Because we know say I go to another topic on.
No, it's the same topic, but it's within the same Greenwood landscape.
Yeah, as in within it. I know what you mean. I mean the oral keys, but long story short, first thing first, that brother Williams, the man where I look after you, can you go the radio station. But anyway, what I would say is like he says he not support any man where abuse women.
Right.
Fine. Right?
So that means you're not supporting no Jamaican man then.
That may I try to get to, you know. Because when me I try to say, you know, I would like to know which genre of music you play or listen to, you know, because bro, Me sure no say enough of them artists are some. I'm not try to label anybody or stigmatize anybody, but I'm just saying there are people that have created or committed things that enough of we don't agree with,
Right.
but we don't just tarnish them out of society. They can go through rehab programs, they can go through rehabilitations, and basically, if it's a forgivable offense, we can take them back, especially if the victim take them back. Because this was an allegation, you know. This is what more people to remember or understand. Same Presser the way I talked a while ago. He needs to remember this was an allegation. Like you said, it was brought to court. It was nothing. The guy never got convicted, and nothing was basically a full proof. It was just some pics and something where people could have, you never know, Photoshopper could have make up. The man was never convicted, and some people want to hold this over his head. Now, what I would say, Kranky, that what was my problem with the guy named Williams, him basically, they asked him a question. Before he answered the question, he wanted to put out his statement. Answer the question, no, boss, and then you can basically, even if you want to move on into that, you move on into that. To me, it felt like you was just coming, you're ready to come under attack, to try to attack the player. Or basically, you the one of the biggest platform in the Caribbean, because it's a Caribbean viewing. And man basically wants to step out and just say that. It's like, what kind of clout you're trying to create? I feel like that was a big disrespect and a slap in the face in terms of we getting the player. I'm not saying you have to be on the side of the fence, but where was the strength for Chris Brown when Chris Brown come to Jamaica, come performing at the stadium car come full? Where was that protest? Where are those people that don't support abusers and that? Where him did that? Where him never say something? You know, the hypocrisy, people don't understand how hypocritical we can be.
It'd be interesting to see if Leje went to Chris Brown's concert.
It would be very interesting. That's why I said I would like to know what genre of music him listen to, you know, because I'm not just regular dancer and me I talk about. I'm just saying, if him basically a dancer and Chris Brown, and when Chris Brown song come on and I want party and he stop dance, we can understand if
and
him
Chris Brown
right
accepted liability for what he did, right? He accepted that he did it. Unlike this case where it wasn't, the court didn't prove it, nor did he accept that he did it. So. That's
what I'm saying, Kranky. This man was not proving, Mason Greenwood was not proving guilty in court. I thought that was law of justice where I go by. And basically this man want to crucify the man under some conspiracy or his own theory. You don't have no evidence and proof. It's basically a slandering now the man name because he run with a theory. And another part that hurt me in what he said he didn't appreciate the fact, and I paraphrase still, because I'm not quoting. He didn't appreciate the fact that England didn't take him, but we end up wanting to take him. Right. It's like, to me, what that tell me is like, some people love them colonizer. It's like that mentality, like, oh, if England did it, we should do it too. And also things go. We need to think independently. That's what we need to sometimes just wake up and realize, and listen, we're not going to behave like that. We don't destroy people because they deem that basically they're going to hold on to something that they think is worth, and it's not. It's never proven, and it was never basically, and there was no conviction. We can't behave like that. Right. All right. I don't want to end off. There was a guy named Anglin. I don't want to bring up and highlight about him, but a couple years ago, he had a similar incident. I'm going to say similar because it's not the same. He had an incident with a lady. This is a football player, by the way. You know, he got called up recently. He had an incident. He was playing for I think it was a USL team in Florida, and he had an incident with a lady, and he went to court. Everything. Long story short, he back home in Jamaica. Nothing was called. Nothing to really talk about of it. It was mentioned one time on the radio station, and that was it. Everything sweep under the rug. Nobody now crucify the youth. Nobody now hold that over him head.
Yeah.
This is how I see it. It's like we can't behave like this. What kind of thought them brother they make, and that's supposed to be okay? And I mean, that is not journalism. That's one. And two, you keep your emotional perspective to yourself. The guy was not convicted, and we can't behave like that. We just feel like, no, as football fans, our people on the whole, we cannot allow people to just feel like, say, it's okay for us go off on hearsay or some conspiracy and just try to double down on that, and especially on national platform, and not be disrespectful like that. Yeah, we understand say England not taking because they feel like something of that, but that we are not England, but we can't do that. That's not right, brother. That's all I said. We need to, if we, Jamaica is supposed to be a Christian country and loving country and everything. Where's the forgiveness? Where's the forgiveness? You know what I mean? To me, I just feel frustrated, Kranky, like I say. Sorry, Steve, but
Yeah, man.
we have to call you.
All right, Theater. I hear you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, bless up. I can't take this call because somebody else called me. Let me call them back. I can't take your 354. Sorry, 345, but I got to return the call for 201-35. Sorry, I can't take your call 345. I know you want to call in now, but I have to go back to the previous call, which I can't find. It was a 201 call, people. I'm trying to find it. If you call me from a 201 number, please call me back. There's a 345 number. I don't know who that is, but I want to do it in sequence to make sure. I don't know who was a 201. If you have a 201 number, please call me back. You had called me. I told you I'd call you back. There's a 345 number. I'm going to call back if I don't hear from you in a sec. Okay, here's the 201 number. I couldn't find it. Good night. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to put you on. I'm going well. Who am I speaking to?
Mark Alon. So this is not the 205, but this is the 345 number.
201, just try to call me.
All right. So what you want me to do? You want me to wait until he says
No.
his
Talk. I'll call him back.
All right, man. Wonderful, Kranky. It's a blessing, man, to always hear your perspective. And one thing about you, Kranky, people can say whatever they want to say. I appreciate your ability to think and to give different perspectives. So keep doing what you're doing, man. This space really needs people like you. Now, with this issue of Mason Greenwood, as you said earlier at the inception of this show, that we can't kill him for his perspective. We can't kill him for having the view. But what we can do, we can critique the view.
Yep.
Right? And that's what we try to do in this space. Now, when we talk about men that abuse women, are we talking about this physical abuse? Are we talking about verbal abuse? Are we talking about even the act of neglect? Because all these things are abuse, you know. So if we are just specifying just to one abuse, then we really need to have a conversation. But to go to the football aspect of it, Kranky, if those who are the legal mind and expert did not progress the matter, for whatever the reasons are, I am not privy as to why it didn't progress, but we are now hearing and we've learned that it has not progressed. How do we dichotomize, come out of people's business and accept the youth for football? Because that's all we should put ourselves in the position to talk about football. Because in person, we don't know if we just don't know all the details, Kranky. And I think it behooves us then just to take the back seat and just to be a little bit more prudent, because one full stop, Kranky, one comma can change the narrative entirely. Right?
True.
So we are looking at a guy who is talented and he has been affected. He has lost everything. Where do we draw the lines to say, you know what, this man is a footballer. He's young. People is forgetting that he's young. And while sometimes we, as young men, we don't get the opportunity to recover from our mistakes and our past, the truth is the world is very cold, and sometimes all a young man needs is a second opportunity, because the man is very talented. And I think we need to not accept that type of behavior, more so look past it, because he's now making strides and he's now focused and he's now playing football. And I think that's where we need to judge him, not just basically his past, because the past is a place of reference, not merely a place of residence. I think we need to accept him and give him a fair chance from a football perspective.
I like that comment, you know. The past is the reference and residence. I've got my bar that one there.
No problem, man. No problem, man. Big up, Kranky.
Yeah, man. Bless up. Thanks.
All right. Yeah.
That's a nice one, actually. I like that. Let me see if I can find. The person just called me. Why your number not coming up? 207. Hey, 207. Call me back. Somehow I see every other number that called, but I can't see your number. And you called me twice. You called me when 345 was on. That was a good call by 345, by the way. And look, people, I do think we live in a society where we don't respect each other's views. Actually, we have to do better, people. We have to do better. I'm gonna get to what point I'm gonna make. Good night. Finally, You're on.
Good night. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, what you have to say? You can't talk for 20 minutes, don't come in. No, you're a long talker like pasta, you know. So you get 5 minutes like everybody else.
Okay, regarding Mason Greenwood situation, you know, I think it is being blown out of proportion on both sides. You know, the gentleman that brought it up on SportsMax, you know, I mean, he was, you know, more than likely trying to get in the good graces of women. You have some men who, they think that defending women will get them in the good graces of women when oftentimes it does not work.
Wait, 1 second. Could you just say it because that's just how he feels without the need to appease the women in general? Some men, I'm like him in a sense, which is I have no tolerance for anybody who beat on anyone, especially those who are weaker than they are, especially women. I don't have any tolerance for it. I'm gonna say that right out.
Yes.
No ambiguity in how I feel, actually.
Yes, but the same people who I don't think many people are against domestic violence in the main. They're only against it when women are the victims.
Right.
Because if you look at, for example, I live in the United States, and when you look at the data, you will see that in like 55% of the cases of heterosexual relationships, the women hit first. And overall, lesbians report the highest rate of domestic violence out of all couples. But men are the face of domestic violence perpetrators. Because we have allowed that. Secondly, when couples are together, it's a very difficult situation to get involved in or to come down on either side. Because the relationship, both sides are hitting and they get back together. What do you do? How do you take a stand when the people are together still? That does not make any sense to me without taking a stand. So, and also, you know what I mean? The players, they tend to have thicker skin than we give them credit for. You know, they would have used to people in England saying very harsh things to them as, you know, as opposing supporters or even their own supporters. So, you know what I mean? They're used to people saying harsh things, you know, whether it's pleasant or not. You know, they're used to that type of attitude. So they come to Jamaica and a person might say something in that regard. I don't think it's going to have any significant effect on the player.
But I'm not going to say that. So here's what happened, people. It's like what happened to Madueke now. Arsenal produced Madueke, and he has to take off his social media because he's getting so much abuse from Arsenal fans, even though he didn't actually be purchased by Arsenal. The point I'm trying to make is that if you're in his position, you want to see the temperature in Jamaica as to how you're viewed. And if the view is very negative, you may feel it to be an affront, and you may be skeptical about pursuing, you know, an opportunity to play for Jamaica. You may still have your passport and your green card. You may say, you know what, I don't need the flag. I don't need the flag. I've had enough flag. I'm tired of the flag. This has been going on for the last 3 years. I don't want to deal with it. You can agree.
I agree with that. You know that a player can take that approach. Hopefully the player does not take that approach. Hopefully he sees it as a new beginning. You know, turn a new leaf. Come to this side of the Atlantic. You know, it's different. People are different, and a new lease on life. You know, and also. I think the domestic violence issue is across the board. I don't think any one group of people get punished more than the other. You know what I mean? We have to see a meta-analysis of the whole issue, but I don't think like any group of people get punished more.
Right.
You know, and also with court cases, it's very complicated. You know, there are many different reasons why people are given sentences are not, you know, maybe prior offenses, maybe they cooperate. So, you know, drawing parallels is very difficult in the legal sphere because there are many different ways of how a person can be punished, even for the same crime.
Yeah. All right, sir.
Yeah.
Appreciate the
All right,
perspective.
all right.
Yeah, man.
All right, thank you.
You know what? I think you guys gonna hate me for saying this, but I'm gonna speak my mind, people. First of all, before I even make a comment, you may take back your like. So hit the like button so someone don't take it back. I think Princess Gillian is making a brilliant point, which I've never thought about. Read Princess Gillian comment, people. I think Princess Gillian is making a brilliant point. Brilliant point, actually. I never thought about this, but I'm reading this comment and saying, that's an interesting comment. What do you guys think about Princess Gillian comment? I'm curious to hear your perspective. Hey, MF, please open your mind up, MF. Please open your mind. It's a brilliant comment. It's a brilliant comment. It's a brilliant comment. You may not agree with it, MF, but it's a brilliant comment. It's not just an opinion. It's a brilliant comment. It's about reasoning. Now, you may not like the direction the reasoning take you, but it's about reasoning. Drew Ross said, "Don't agree." Tell me your view, Drew Ross. By the way, someone just texted me and says Marlon King, Jamie Lawrence, Joshua Anglin, Javon Watson, all national players who have spent time behind bars. That's really interesting. So Jamaica has a history here. Jamaica has a history. We're not good, but we're different, have a history. Anyway, let me move on to something else. We spend enough time here. Speculation is dangerous, but we all speculate, right? Right? Winston Williams, we all speculate. It does. Look, people, don't go hide behind a rock, okay? Let me call you guys out. Don't be behind a rock. If anybody accuse me, hold up, Winston, money. This is the last call before I move on to my next comment. Let me just say this before you speak. Call up, you dropped off. Let me say this, people. We can't be afraid of the direction the conversation take us in, because you're not getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. I'm sorry. Let me say that again. Colin Quest, you may think it's crap. I don't think it's crap. We differ. Okay? I am not gonna be with anybody who accuse me of something and then I go marry them. I'm not doing it. You may not like that perspective, Colin Quest, because it may not satisfy your narrative, but it's a brilliant comment in my mind. So if you don't like the comment, too bad. But here's the thing. Will you, if somebody accuse you of doing something that bad, would you marry them? Please answer the question. Not because it makes you uncomfortable. I support Greenwood playing for Jamaica. Let me just say that off the bat. But don't say such stupid comment when you haven't spent any time, because you know what? It doesn't satisfy where you want to go. Go ahead, Carlo. Go ahead, Carlo.
Yeah, good evening, sir. We'd have a call for say a thing, but being that you mentioned the comment that the female made, right?
Yeah.
I'm guess from her comment, she's saying basically what that say about him basically because he married somebody who accused him and damaged his career, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's anything Kranky, you're a smart individual, brother, and you can flip that, you can flip that and look, say, he did that to her, so why she married him? Because when marriage, it's not a one-person thing in a marriage, a two people decide to make a decision to spend them life for as long as they want until
and that's a fair point. That's a fair point on your part. But we have seen a history with women, right? We have seen women in an abusive relationship and they still stay all the time. We know this for a fact.
Well, Bridget, we can't just focus on the man's side and not the woman's side, because these are two human beings. He was accused, she was supposed to be the accuser until the case was finally thrown out. Whether he did something or not, we didn't know what he did. We just basically seen stuff and we make our decision. But here what me have to say though, this is what I call about. I guess the so-called people, the religious people, probably gonna jump and say something. But one thing I noticed, I've been on this earth, brother, for 50-something years, 52 years. And one thing I noticed a lot, why these religious people always seem to be the ones that always tend to judge people and these perfection. Nobody is
I don't know,
perfect,
because
brother.
I am far from religious. So I would know. I'm far from religious.
Brother, in my life, and I'm based on my experience, I tend to have where these people just tend to judge people. Brother, we all have all of us have issues. We all did something at some point where we could look back. Some worse than some. Brother, really, just look on it. You're really gonna damage a 23-year-old man's career, basically, even a chance to play in a World Cup because of something whereas he didn't take somebody's life, he didn't kill somebody, and the person, brother, me one person, me not like when man beat woman, but brother, the same person who he supposedly did this to, she have a child with him and married him, brother. So I'm trying to figure out where some of these people, if they're trying to look for a career done, this guy Williams, if SportsMax closed down, he's looking for a career somewhere else or something. I'm trying to figure out if these people are just doing it for clout, are they doing it for a job down the line? Brother, we can look on the situation and say Mason Greenwood probably was wrong. The evidence where people look at, how we are human beings and we jump to conclusion and we set things and whatever. But at the end of the day, even if you say something about when the evidence come out and you say, why Mason shouldn't do this and Mason, brother, we all ask for second chances. We all do that, brother. Even if it's a job second chance, it's something about life. We all ask for second chance. Nobody is perfect, brother. And it's not like he took somebody's life, Bridget. It's not like he took somebody's life. I may have a conversation with a brother who's this big devout Christian about this. And he might talk about this and that. And my thing is this, I said to him, brother, the biggest saint in a Christianity, Paul, who Saul, killed more people, more Christian, so-called Christian than anybody else, brother. We need to stop this nonsense, brother. Stop the nonsense, man. Just stop it, brother, man. But big up and bless up, yeah.
Yeah, man, bless. So we're conflating a few things, people. We're sort of jumping around in different areas, right? There are a number of things to consider. The number one question is, was a crime, an assault perpetrated? We don't have evidence. We see evidence in the media, but is that evidence? We don't know. The courts, I'm not saying the courts exonerated the person, but the courts said they had witnesses didn't come forward and or they had new evidence, which seems to suggest they can't prosecute, right? The two parties who are involved in this, and the pictures are really bad. Let's be honest. They were bad pictures. Two parties involved in this are reconciled and are together. Now, we can take whatever sides we want to take. What we shouldn't do is go hide under the bed because we don't like the direction of travel of the conversation or we don't like the logic employed. Look at the logic, discern the logic, assess the logic. You can try to come up with your own perspective as to how you can negate the argument. But I refuse to be in any forum where you don't want to listen to somebody who have a different view from you because you believe your view is right or because the view and the narrative doesn't satisfy what you want to satisfy. That's not how we should be living as people. Everybody provide their perspective. You assess the arguments and you come out on one side. You may still come out where you come out, but at least give an ear to what's being said. We seem to have this tunnel vision and these blinkers on like we're a Cayman a spark, where you know what? It's my view and I have a certain perspective. I don't want to hear what you have to say. That doesn't fit what I want to achieve. So therefore, I'm going to beat you down. I'm going to cuss you. I'm going to use the worst language I can do to satisfy my narrative. I'm not buying that. I'm sorry. Not buying that. If I saw something where I say, it's not illogical, don't tell me you're cranky, I hate that thing if you go in. That's your view, that's your perspective. I may think your argument is nonsense, okay, you want to satisfy a certain narrative, but I'm going to try to argue it in such a way to make it make sense. This inability to people to get comfortable with uncomfortable conversation just makes me laugh. And when you want to be, look, we know in society, go look at how many men kill women versus vice versa. You'll be startled with the numbers, okay? And most of them, a woman kill a man, someone says, you know what? Because they were abused, that's why it happens. Men are the main abusers. Don't talk about a woman hit you. Don't be a wimp. I don't want to look at my girl, slap your top about a woman hit you. Most women don't have the strength of men. So don't come up with a nonsense thing about a woman hit me first, so I kick her. Really? We want to go down that? Really? Then you're a wimp. That's how I view it. Last call, people, before we go on the program for non-stop ring. Good night. Good night. Who am I speaking to? Hello?
You're speaking to MF.
Yes, MF, what do you have to say?
Listen, I listened to you when the young lady made the statement and you said it was brilliant. That was your opinion. It is, in fact, not brilliant, and that was her opinion, right? So when somebody
So what? No. Why wasn't it brilliant? What's your view? Why it's not brilliant? Why it's not brilliant?
Wait, you have to allow me to finish before you cut me off. Right.
Go ahead.
Right. So again, what I said to you is it was your opinion that's brilliant, and the comment she made was her opinion.
All right.
Now the fact that we disagreed that it was brilliant offended you because then you
because you gave no logic as to why it wasn't.
Oh goodness.
You can get frustrated or you want to get frustrated. Give me the logic why it's not brilliant. I will listen. I'll shut up and listen. I'm gonna put myself on mute. You explain why it's not brilliant.
I would have to go back to find, I'm not watching the comments anymore. I don't remember exactly what was said. But as you can see, I'm not the only person who said it was not a brilliant comment, right? And again, the overarching argument is that it was her opinion, your opinion, and our opinions. And you castigated us for disagreeing with her opinion and thereby your opinion of her opinion. No, that's not right. So what you're doing is you're killing us for disagreeing with her opinion, but you are disagreeing with our opinion, right? So how does that make sense?
Tell me when I can speak.
You're sure you can speak?
No, because I don't want you to say I'm cutting you off and I give you a chance to have a forum. So you have the forum. When you're done, I will speak.
I said what I said. You can go ahead and
Okay,
respond.
so here's the logic. If you're going to disagree with me, provide your argument to substantiate your point. Don't just say what this person said, idiot thing that coming. Now, you guys didn't just say it's not a good argument. Some of you will make derogatory comment to substantiate why you think it's not a good comment. Provide your evidence to substantiate your argument, then it can be accepted. Just saying it's a dumb comment doesn't provide any context as to why it is.
Kranky, I don't want you to mix me up with others. I never said her comment was dumb because I'm not going to be disrespectful to somebody I don't know.
Okay.
Unless they're disrespectful to me.
Okay.
I said I did not agree with the comment.
Okay, and that's fine.
With you saying it was a brilliant comment. Now let's if we can address the accusation, because again, people are saying that basically implying that the young man is guilty of what was shown on the pictures, and I listened to some audio of the conversation that was put out there, right?
Right.
These things are alleged. Again, he has not been criminally convicted, and I don't see. A lot of times I hear people bringing skin color into this thing. Okay, so he's mixed. They want to say he's black, right? All right. We complain about how black people are treated. Now you're telling me that if they had this kid dead to rights, that they would let him off the hook with attacking. Again, I'm not one of them into this skin color thing, but let's use it because it is what it is. She's a white woman. He's a black man. He's accused of attacking her, assault, abuse, battery, whatever you want to use. I don't know what the English use, right? Okay, so you're telling me they let this kid off the hook for what was based on the pictures appeared to be a proper beating where she was bleeding, right?
Yeah.
Now, again, another person posted in the comments that women have attacked themselves and then accused a man of doing it. So what I'm saying to you is if we're just going to go solely off of pictures to say, yes, this kid actually beat this girl up, how can we do that and then try to destroy his whole life based off of an alleged incident, which there's no video like that. If somebody put Diddy in the comments as well, there's a video. So we can't say, okay, there's a picture. There's a video of Diddy doing what he did to Cassie. So that's not he said, she said, or maybe somebody faked a still picture, right? So we don't have concrete evidence that this young man did what was said to have been done, right? So all I'm saying, again, and I'm not going to support anybody beating up anybody. You know, I tell people, I say, you keep your hands to yourself. I keep my hands to myself. I hate the attitude that a lot of men have, where a woman can do anything, and because she's a woman, you're supposed to just turn the other cheek and let it go. And your comment a while ago about men being the majority of the abusers, brother, you need to go look and see what really goes on. And don't think because they're supposedly the weaker sex that men are these boogeymen. And men, in fact, men hold back a lot of times because we know we're stronger, right?
Yeah. So let's touch upon a number of points that you've touched upon, right? One is the comment was, I'm gonna summarize it. If he wasn't guilty, why would he marry her? Mm. And your perspective is, wait. If he wasn't guilty, why would he marry her? And your view is she could have hurt herself just to get back at him, right?
No. That's
what were you saying?
I'm just saying that's a possibility.
Right. So that's a possibility. But here's my view.
Not in her case. I'm just saying that is a possibility. You just looking at pictures doesn't tell the full story.
So I'm gonna ask you the question. If some woman came out and said you abused them, put in public life, the career almost get destroyed, would you marry that person? I don't think they're married, but would you stay with the person?
So I did answer that question in the comments, but I guess you didn't see it. No. I have been accused of stuff before that I did not do.
No, we're talking about severe stuff. We're talking about the severity of it. Yes.
You want me to give you my whole?
No. We don't have time. We don't have time for that.
Okay, so I'm telling you that I have been accused of something that I did not do.
Okay.
And I didn't leave, and it was very serious. But the question, and this is why I say the question has to be. And when you go back and you look, you see I asked, why do you think I didn't leave? No, that was a rhetorical question because you don't know. But there are reasons why people make decisions not either to leave or not to leave. I saw a doctor then put a post in there and say if somebody accused him of something, blah, 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 he's gone. But again, that's his prerogative. You don't know why other people don't do that. Okay. So it doesn't mean that you're admitting guilt. There could be other factors.
Look, the only question I would ask oneself is this. You have to live with this every single day for probably the rest of your life. But even now, you're 23 in most of your career. You're going to tell me, I know how I am, right? That you're going to be, every day you look at this person, you realize you can't go to England to live because of this person, right? You can't play for the team you want to play for because of this person. You can't do this because of this person. Anytime you're going to live with this person, you can actually live with them and be with them? Really? And because they falsely accuse you? You're a better man than I am.
Well, I'm not going to. I wouldn't go that far. I don't know you personally. I disagree with some of your takes.
I don't know how I could. I'd lose my mind because I would be resentful every single day.
That's a possibility, but again, if you have a strong mind, there are. I'm telling you, if you have a strong mind and you know what you're doing, right? It's not for everybody. Everybody isn't built like that.
Right.
But again. It goes to say that a person stayed because they may be guilty. This is why I say it was not a brilliant argument because you don't know that. That's an opinion. And it could be very wrong as it would be in my case.
No. It could be a brilliant argument even though you have exception to it. Right? It could be a brilliant argument. No. It could be no. It could be a brilliant perspective even though there's exception to it. Normally when you make an argument, it's about what's normalized and what's average.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What is your definition of brilliance?
My definition is something which a brilliant argument is an exceptional argument whereby the argument can stand up to scrutiny. The argument have enough substance to it to allow it to not be negated by some other perspective. That's my perspective.
But I have debunked that argument with my personal experience.
No, you haven't debunked it. You give me an example. No, you give me an example of your situation. You haven't debunked the argument. I'm going to ask the question. People must say something. I'm going to get controversial tonight. So, are any of you in the chat fans of a DJ that just got released from prison? Are you guys fans of this DJ?
I'm not.
I'm going to ask you in the chat because I know enough of them are. If you are, then I find it interesting when people have certain position in terms of how you operate. Because
so again,
I'm not saying you. I'm saying people in the chat. So you're one of the individuals.
Okay.
Because I think people they have their own agendas, and if it fits their narrative, they're fine with it. They don't care about no morality. They don't care about the nature of the discussion. They don't care about how substantive discussion is. They don't care about facts. If it fits what they want and what they believe it should be, then they don't care about everything else around it.
So, Kranky, that's the reason why That's the reason why I even call, because if you notice, a lot of times I don't even, when I comment, it's generally not about football. A lot of times I see comments that I think have more social impact than just football, right? And I have a problem with people who fail to allow due process under the law, number one. I have a problem with a lack of objectivity. Now, everybody has an opinion. I understand that.
Yep.
But there's such a thing as facts don't care about your feelings. The guy who initially coined that, I think, is a hypocrite because he doesn't believe it. But it is true that facts do not care about your feelings. And what I see is that a lot of people don't actually care about the facts. Like you said, they have their idols, and their morality will be tied to who's their favorite. I'm not one of those persons. Again, if Mason did what he's accused of, I don't support that. Right.
But that doesn't mean you won't allow him to go play football, right? That's what people.
Of course not.
Exactly. That's what people seem to be confusing it. Yep.
Even a murderer, when he gets his when he does his sentence and he comes out and he pays he's supposed to be able to. I mean, I know it's difficult, especially over here, but by law, you're supposed to get your rights back once you have paid for your crime. Now, again, the guy hasn't been convicted of any crime. So what are we doing? We're just allowing a bunch of people who are in their feelings to project those feelings onto everybody else, and so we must go along to get along. And I won't subscribe to that. And
look, you're right about what I did, actually. So I'm gonna take that in terms of me, no matter how I wanna put it. I did jump out and says, when you guys say you don't agree, I didn't. The same thing I've been espousing about to give allowance. I don't think I gave that allowance, but my frustration was, normally when you say I don't agree with something, I would love to have more context to why you don't agree, so I can then compare the two arguments. Because if my argument is not strong enough, I am all for, you know what? I said, hey, it's a better argument than what I'm making. I'm fine with it.
Context is sometimes difficult in the number of characters allowed in the comment section.
That's true,
so
too.
Unless you call in and you're given the opportunity to expand or expound, then we won't get a full understanding. But it's good that you allow, like I said, there are other things I'd like to discuss with you, because I disagree with your characterization of some of these issues. But at least you give, it can be politics, it can be the religion thing. Yeah.
I hear you.
We need to talk, because I think that maybe you can be, I never try to convince people, but to show you a different perspective, give you something to think about, and then one can make their decision. I think that's how it should be done.
Yeah, man. I appreciate the call, though.
Yeah, man.
All right,
no problem.
Bless up.
Yes, sir.
That was a very good call, by the way, people. Man called me out. Rightly so, too. Right? So the man called me out, and he's right. I was jumping on people that I did not agree with it. And same thing, I complain about me. I'm a hypocrite sometimes, But to be honest, I wanted context to what was being said. Because if you're going to dispute the argument, I would love to have the rationale for disputing the argument, so I can then compare and contrast. Somebody said, "I beg me a call." I don't know all this. What up, people? Me call back. Lord, I want to play the thing about me. Yeah, I cannot play what I want to play because all the calls are coming in. Let me play this first, and then I'm gonna get to the callers. Right? Hey, hey, Colin. Boy, if I can get more support like you, Colin, we can support my program and Colin. Colin Quest, as usual. Thanks for the super chat. I truly appreciate it, sir. Hope you're having a good evening. I'm trying to play. So I want to move on to the whole. I'm trying to pull something up, people. Give me 1 second. If I can find it. So let me see if I can find this one and play it.
Won't he saga concerning?
No, that's not the one. That's not. That's the wrong one. Pull up the other one.
Saga concerning.
All right, shut up.
Marseille attacker
SportsMax.
Mason Greenwood.
Come on, SportsMax. Get off my channel. Okay. So this is a different one.
Saga concerning.
Wait, people. I think I've had the thing twice.
Mason Greenwood.
I think I may have messed up people.
Won't he saga?
Yeah, I think I messed up people. I pulled up the wrong video, so I may have to talk about this one versus being able to play it. Because no, I have it.
But fair and fearless analysis. Mason Greenwood coming to represent Jamaica. We're sick of that story there.
So this is Maverick, people. So we have moved on from what LeJay said about the situation with Mason, meaning he doesn't support him because of what he was accused of doing. Even as we have talked about ad nauseum, he wasn't convicted by the courts, and he's still in relationship with the person who accused him or supposedly accused him. Maverick's situation is a bit different. He's saying he's tired of the Mason Greenwood coming to provision situation. Just listen to it. Then we'll talk about it. By the way, I pulled this from Maverick channel, so I'm giving credit a theme video. But you know, say me have my thing with Maverick, so let's see what I'm have to say.
Personally tired of it. It annoying me now. This incessant run down a ball to come play for Jamaica. I don't think we should have run down a ball to come play for Jamaica. Unless a Messi or Pele or Maradona. And with all the respect to Mason Greenwood, I don't think he's a Messi or Pele or Maradona. Good little baller. Baller when in the day of Man U, we used to tell people say a dollar baller them rate out of all of the baller them around a Man U, all when Man U has struggle. But this, how long now we are chased behind Mason Greenwood? And every sneeze him sneeze. We hear says a new development for Jamaica. See it again now. Former Manchester United star Mason Greenwood has completed his switch of allegiance from England to represent Jamaica and is now awaiting receipt of his Jamaican passport. This development comes almost 1 year after news broke that Mason Greenwood formally requested a switch of allegiance from England to represent Jamaica. The process had been delayed by the absence of a particular document requested by the Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, PICA, from Greenwood's British-born mother, through whom he qualifies to represent Jamaica. Greenwood's grandmother is Jamaican-born. The 23-year-old who blah, 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 blah. Me tired of it. Me tired of it. Me they tell you no. So you see, after we get that soup group there to qualify for the World Cup, watch if some more baller now going to start running now. Well, see the rest of it. It is now hoped that Greenwood will be available for Jamaica's final round of CONCACAF World Cup qualifying, which starts in September. Jamaica Reggae Boys are in Group B alongside Trinidad and Tobago, Curacao and Bermuda. The Jamaicans will play away to Bermuda as well as host Trinidad and Tobago in the September window. I don't think Jamaica need Mason Greenwood to qualify for the World Cup. I think the Jamaica Reggae Boys team right now needs to get more cohesive more than it needs Mason Greenwood. In other words, if Mason Greenwood with all his qualities coming on this team here, and the team remains basically dysfunctional in all the different areas of the park, Mason Greenwood not going to look like a hard-ner ball the same way. He's not going to get the ball on foot. The ball not going to rotate enough to reach him on a regular basis. So he's going to struggle like how you see Leon Bailey has struggled. He's going to struggle like how you see Maria Gray has struggled. He's going to struggle like how Mikel Antonio has struggled. Because he will come into a dysfunctional team. A team where not playing a football. So this hype we have over Mason Greenwood coming here as the Lord and Savior, I'm going to buy into it. Me think the problems at the Jamaica Reggae Boys team is that fundamentally, we're not playing a football. And it no matter who they are, that's how we are going to look. And the next thing, is that the risk involved now. Me assume that Mason Greenwood never even come to Jamaica yet. See? He never play on the kind of surface them where we are going to play upon in a Jamaica. And we are going to play upon down at Curacao. And we are going to play upon down at Bermuda. And down at Trinidad. It's not like him a come playing around where we are going to Azteca. And we are going to play up America. And we are going to Costa Rica, down at Panama. And some Caribbean level ground we are going to play upon, you know. How many we are going to play upon them ground? How am I going to fit in our team when I play playing football? You see, all along, you know, I tell people, you know, when I look on Jamaica team and play, you know, we have prioritized the wrong thing, and this has come from the level of the federation. Them have this false assumption that they've been having for years, decades, from captain was the president. And the false assumption is more England born player we go for and the better Jamaica team. If this World Cup qualifying cycle with this team the proof say that is a folly, then we're not going to learn. It is more important to get a less talented team playing organized, coordinated, and cohesive football than it is to get a team full of individual talent and they don't know what they do. It's a team sport. And if Mason Greenwood come here and the football team now click like a football team, him a go look ordinary like the rest of man them we have a play all over the world and look ordinary when them come play for Jamaica. Get some midfielders that can possess the ball and pass the ball and look like a structured team. That is what we need more than Mason Greenwood. We have Leon Bailey, Demario Gray, Mikel Antonio. We have Cephas. We have Bobby Reader coming now. We have quality up top already. We don't need Mason Greenwood to come acclimatize and say, oh, it's a nice atmosphere and the fields are different and the humidity is that. We don't need that. To me, if him reach her, him reach her. If he can play for it, him can play for it. It's not the be-all and end-all of the Jamaica National Football Program if Mason Greenwood come here or not. Because the harsh reality is, if he never have the issues in England, he wouldn't even look on Jamaica. I mean, I don't know if necessarily when you select or pick people to represent your country at them kind of circumstances and the ideal circumstances for him come play for Jamaica. I don't know if come here and committed like Mariapa and Hector and Latimer there and Bobby Reed. I don't know. He might come here and surprise me. But the circumstances around him coming here, people, I don't like it. I'm going to get turned off for a long time. I'm going to business if him come or not. I mean that, you know. Because to me, he not genuinely want to come. He not genuinely want to come play for Jamaica, people. They're the blind, you can't see that, man. I mean, I know now, next thing you know, him come here now, boom, and we qualify for World Cup. We say him make we qualify. I don't think him going to make we qualify if we qualify. And the draw, I'm going to make we qualify. I tell you already, say, Steve McLaren is probably the only man in this world, you know, coach right now, where in that situation with a Jamaica team, I try to qualify for the World Cup. From the group there, I have the population worried enough. Any other sensible coach will work them salt, would have just walk, soap, and qualify from the group there. Curacao, Trinidad, and Bermuda. Don't tell me something underrate the team them. And some rubbish team them rank 100 and so you can pick up side from all about the place. But I want to go afraid of them like a side. And we need Mason Greenwood. And we need this. And we need that. We will organize the team to play some football. We should have shaped like dog. If you beg Mason Greenwood to come here. If you can beat Curacao and Trinidad and Bermuda. Me can't feel like excitement when I see people that feel, brother. Me don't feel it. We should be in a position where we can tell Mason Greenwood to say, but stay away there. But you never come when we didn't need you, stay away there. We don't need you now. Can we get an easy draw? We can manage this by myself. Maybe when you reach a World Cup, I feel like we want better the team if we go a World Cup. We're going to have time to integrate in the team. But right now, if you go carry come here, if you come acclimatize in the team, if you come probably discombobulate the team, me think it's not a good risk to take right now. We not go around with the people. Eh? It's bugger excited about Mason Greenwood. Every fucking day you get up, always Mason Greenwood, Mason Greenwood. Like Jamaica football revolve around Mason Greenwood. He doesn't. And Mason Greenwood never want to be here either. He's only here because of extenuating circumstances. But I want to go around the context, I think. Me not excited, people. Me not excited, me not care if him come. God Almighty know. Me past that point, you know. When me did just hear it, me did say, yeah, good look about and I hope him coming out of the system early. And me could just go and build the thing. And now we may reach yet. Joke to people. If him come here, him come here. If not, me not lose no sleep if him not come here. And if we don't qualify for the World Cup, I know because him not come here, why we don't qualify. And because we don't know what we are doing, the coach don't know what they do. And if we qualify for the World Cup, I don't even come back to qualify for the World Cup neither.
So hey, this is too easy, people. We need something more challenging. Maverick, you're too easy. Maverick, you're too easy. You're too easy, man. We need some competition for challenge, Maverick. Maverick, too easy, people. Let you know if you start. Kranky, I blame you for subjecting me to this big people. Let you know if you start. It's too easy, people. It's too easy. It's too easy. So let's decipher what Maverick just talked about. Wait, let me mess up the screen. First of all, people, him tired of hear about Mason Greenwood, right? Now, Maverick always go in the environment and saying people over the fence and getting information. In my peeping Tom. That's what I say, my peeping Tom. I'm not people on nobody fence. I go to my source and get information. I'm not people over nobody fence. In my peeping Tom, as we don't know. Little sharp man is a peeping Tom. Him so easy to beat it, not funny. And man, I'll cuss on him program like I don't normally cuss. It's very interesting for him to say that Basically, Mason, if we go away, I'm tired of hearing about Mason, he might not savior, and we don't need Mason to qualify. So let me Maverick. What the problem that Maverick have with Maverick is he doesn't really make really linear arguments with clear factual situations to substantiate his position. So you don't really get empirical evidence to say, you know what, let me take this evidence, assess the evidence, discern the evidence, and then say, you know what, yeah, he come out really well. So let's try to break down what he's saying. So we don't need Mason Greenwood to qualify. I don't know about need, but we want him so we can qualify. If you go back to where we are, people, over the last 8 or 9 games, it's not a pretty picture. BVI, St. Vincent, Dominica, Dominican Republic, Guadeloupe, Guatemala, Panama. The only really good performance in that whole bunch is a watered down Guatemala team where we've had most of our players. Now, we can say it's the coach, which many of us have said. We can say it's all extending circumstances, it's the field, it's the coach, but we haven't played well. We have not played well. Now, if you're not playing well, you're not cohesive, as he said, you need to put yourself together. Then he suggests, when are you going to start doing that? Or do you try to get the best players possible to get you over the line? Then you can think about cohesiveness, because right now you're not cohesive. So when you're going to start blending steam when they're international team, and you can't work, you're not going to work with them until September they come back. So it's a pickup team. International football is about a hard start team. If you're Panama, if you're Guatemala, some of these countries where some of the players don't play outside the country, you can bring a certain group of the players together and convene and put together some kind of strategy and style of play how you want to do. We're a pickup team, just like most other international teams. The US is a pickups team. When they pick them end with team, them lose. Now, some of Maverick's points, which are really interesting, we should go through. How is Mason Green going to play in certain environment? Not used to CONCACAF. That is true. And certain facilities, that is true. But Pulisic does it. McKenna does it. Ware does it. Reina does it. Adams does it. They do it, right? They play in Europe on nice fields. They play in America on nice fields. They have to go to Guatemala. They have to come to the Caribbean. They play and they succeed, right? So that argument to me doesn't hold water. And Greenwood, as you hear William says, he's a world-class talent. And we have said this because I think Maverick lives in his own little world. Jamaica or the Caribbean, to me, the Caribbean has only produced one, I would call one world-class talent in football that I know of in the traditional Caribbean in terms of Dwight York. I can't remember us producing any world-class football in Jamaica, nor has any world-class football ever played for Jamaica. So you get a chance to get a differentiating person to play for your team, and you have a problem with that? Second, you don't have the history of what transpired. Shaka Hislop is not world-class, people. He's born in England. He's not world-class either. Not even close. You don't have the history of what happened with the passport citizenship process. You have a component of it, which is about his mom needing to sign the papers and didn't sign it. First of all, I've been told from day one, you're talking about a while now, Mason Greenwood wants to play for Jamaica. Mason Greenwood is not an individual. He's an organization. And what do I mean by that? All these kids who are at a certain level have a group of people around them. Their agents, their parents, other individuals, their advisors. They make the decision for them all the time. The kids just play football. John Barnes wasn't grooming Jamaica people. John Barnes learned his trade in England. So did Sterling. You guys come up with a name that tell me something. John Barnes wasn't grooming Jamaica. He left Jamaica as a teenager. So at the end of the day, in Mason Greenwood's situation, he doesn't make decisions just on his own. It's a group of individuals who make decisions on his behalf. And a lot of times he just probably, knowing how these kids operate, they just go along with the program, right? Sometimes kids want to play for Jamaica. Parent says no. Agent says no. Advisor says no. Here's the plus and minuses as to why you should go for England versus Jamaica. They may wait. What we don't do is get all the background information to then inform our view before we come in the public domain and say certain things. Maverick is not a reporter. He's not a real journalist. I just view Maverick as somebody who want to put out some videos, make some quick money, get some controversial views, and move on. Because it's really disturbing where someone who was the influence that he does, who have the support that he does, who have the leverage that he does, come out in the public domain and say certain things, but you just find it's not okay. It's not okay. Right? And he has the same thing Williams have, which is, given Mason's situation, we shouldn't even go down that route. Now, why he put out this video to me, what value he's trying to add, doesn't make any sense to me. It's really a money video, as most of his videos are, I view. Put out a quick video, make a quick $100 here, it add up to a decent number. That's the way I view it. Because he's making no sense in a lot of what he says. The harsh reality is, if he didn't have a circumstance to play for Jamaica, that is probably true. But so that goes for most other footballers who are deemed to be the cream of the crop and can play for the country of birth. If Jamaica athletes didn't win medal, Turkey wouldn't give him a ton of money if he could play for Turkey. And I hear him being his damn hypocrite self, supporting these individuals who decide to discount or disown their country to go perform for another country when they were groomed, grown, supported, nurtured by the country, and they gave up that country to go play for another country for money. I mean, saying support them. Maverick is the most hypocritical person on God's earth that has a platform that he utilizes. He's becoming distasteful the way he operates. Seriously. It's unbelievable the way he operates. You can't have it both ways, Maverick, because Maverick is anti-diaspora. Maverick's one of the biggest xenophobe out there. He's anti-diaspora. So he'll come out and say these things because he don't like diaspora. He wants something because JPL man to go on that team. And they're not at the level they need to be. Right? Yes, nowadays, it's Greenwood and 10 other players because he's by far the best player on the team. And Reggae Boys, Reactor is always going to come up with something. If what Maverick says that we need to blend the players, we need to make them more cohesive. Well, you know what? Give me the best players and I try to make them cohesive versus give me a bunch of players who may not be performing well and they'll give me the best chance to win. Right? Maverick has a platform, but the way he uses that platform is disturbing. If you go on his program and then challenge him, he give you the nonsense meter. But if you agree with him, you're the best thing since sliced bread. It's amazing how that operates. He leaves no room for disagreement, no room for contrarian perspective, no room for opposite to anything that he says or does. It's all about how he operates. And my frustration is he comes and espouses these views and you have his supporters who just drink up what he says, lap it up what he says. He basically said, Mason, if you go away. Mason doesn't want to play for Jamaica. I've told you people, and this I'm not making this up. I was told from day one the kid wants to play. The situation with his mom is true. The situation with his support is true about, first of all, I think part of the whole equation was this. The kid has been burned really bad, and they're probably cautious about putting him out there in the limelight and having him go through another situation. Right? So you'd be very cautious if you're a mom. We want to go and play for Jamaica, which then means more news about this, different country, it's going to be big up in England, and it's exactly what happened. And then we have people like Maverick and Leger who are going to come out and say what they say. It only garner up the same situation over and over and over. And it gets old, and it gets stale, and it gets frustrating. Right? We're not playing well. And Maverick don't know nothing about football, because the more he talks about football, the more I laugh. He just doesn't know anything about football. He doesn't. It's very frustrating. But for him to say some of the things that he said just to get some views, it's not a good thing. Maverick, you can be better than that. Seriously. Just to get some views is not a good thing. And it's frustrating to hear you talk sometimes because you can have your own opinion and some things he said are correct. The kid probably wouldn't play for Jamaica unless of his situation. Because frankly, he would be one of the first pick in the England team. So why would he come play for Jamaica if you're going to say people from Jamaica should go to Turkey and take the money and run when Jamaica nurtured them and groomed them, but you think Mason should play for England where the opportunity is better, then go away with hypocrisy because it means you're anti and xenophobic. You only support those who are born in Jamaica. You see, them should take the money and run, forget about Jamaica and nationalism and all that stuff. That's nonsense. And fine, I'm always supportive of people looking out for themselves and their family. But you can't have it both ways. You can't then beat Mason because him say, no, I'm playing for England if in the situation. And then you want to give those people who Jamaica nurture and groom and invested in and say them should go. I don't understand the logic. It's not just nonsensical, it's hypocritical. But that's innate to Maverick. Being a hypocrite is Maverick. Every time it's a Maverick, get some balls, Maverick. You must get some balls, Maverick. Yeah, I'm being gross people. Get some balls. You know why? Because when you talk about politics, you never take any side. You're on the fence. We don't need to drop a 5 fence. When you talk about because you're free that Jamaica, you know, because you can't pick no side, you know. See, they're on the fence all the time. And I'm just talking about X, Y, Z. Here is the argument. No. Whatever situation you believe the people should be focused on, because it's all about the people, then take a side. Don't be on the fence 24/7. Oh, yeah, people for the fence. You know, they're on the fence. You're people for the fence. Like you're people in town. No. If you're going to come out with your view and your perspective, which is your view and perspective, and going to beat people like you beat Mason Greenwood, then if Mason come and hit the ball of cover, we don't want you to say nothing about Mason, no. We are holding people, we are holding him accountable. You don't want Mason. That means not Mason do, which may be good, you should have no comment about, because you don't want Mason. Because we can't make work up without Mason. I don't want to envision playing all these games without our best players. I do not. I've seen us. I have seen us, people. I have watched us over the last 2 years, year and a half. It's not being pretty. We went to the Gold Cup and we stunk up the joint. We went to Copa and we stunk up the joint. The World Cup qualifiers, we barely scraped through against Dominica, who played cricket. Against Dominican Republic, who outplayed us. We played Honduras at home, they outplay us. We have not played anybody in a while except Guatemala at home. How we can sit here like we are the bastion and the best in terms of playing football, and we can just go through Trinidad and Bermuda and Curacao, who have a bunch of players who ply their trade in Holland, is beyond me. That sense of arrogance, I don't have it. The reason why I've said that we're going to make the World Cup despite the coach, because I knew who was going to come into the team. I knew who was going to come to the team. That's why I felt that confidence. I didn't say because I think this team that we have currently today have sufficient resources to take us to the next level. No, that wasn't my rationale. I knew we were supposed to get 4 or 5 players. Right now it looks like 3. And I expect them to be differentiators and difference makers to supplement what we have, or for what we have to supplement them to allow us to beat the teams we're supposed to play. So I probably spent too much time on Maverick, but I think Maverick has a big platform in Jamaica. He has both a TV show and a radio show. I think the JFF is hypocritical when they allow him to get platform and interview people like Rudolph Speed on a regular basis, because he kiss up to them, because that's what he's a kiss ass. He does that all the time. And then he beat them in public and call them vultures. He call them outside the name. And yeah, they give him platform. They don't come on our platform, you know. They give him platform and they give him ability to interview them and give him publicity because of whatever reason. Don't ask me. So they'll say they're not coming on our platform because we're toxic, but they don't find him toxic, but he does so much toxic stuff. And because he's so hypocritical, he'd be kissing their butt when they come on his platform. But then when he goes off of some other place, he'll beat them, and they love the kiss butt so much that they allow him to do what he does, which is not good. You can't operate that way. That's for you, JFF. Treat everybody fairly, JFF. Create an egalitarian system where you give regular media equal access. Hey, JFF, I don't watch it now. Mind all the media out there in disappear Jamaica. I need YouTubers now, because we're not going to forget. Let me say that again. The SportsMax just dropped. When I get SportsMax interview, and them will know half of the chart, them gone. We're not going to win now. Unless YouTube go away, we're not going to win. We're not going to win. So, yeah, and don't just go on the easy channel, JFF. I don't know, go on the easy channel, them. We're not getting on tough question. Come like a coach. Like go on the easy channel, when they getting through them the softball questions. If you are comfortable in your domain, if you're comfortable with how you operate, if you're comfortable with how you manage, you're not afraid to go to any forum to engage. That's what you should do. Don't just go to the easy thing, because the easy thing not going to help you. Right? So anyway, people, I'm not stay much longer. It's been an interesting evening. I got corrected this evening, which is good. Somebody called me out. MF called me out. MF, good call, MF. Respect the call, MF. Good call out. Good call out. I was a little bit hypocritical like Maverick tonight, even though I wanted more context for the comment about the perspective shared. But it's a good call out, MF. I appreciate the call out. And I appreciate each of you who have joined the forum tonight. I appreciate each of you who have joined the forum tonight. It's been an interesting discussion. People, please do this. Please hit the like button before you leave, people. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. You know, I must say this. I must say it again, because I say, type here, Kranky, say that, you know. Every day I come on YouTube, I wonder if it's my last YouTube, my last show. Seriously, this is not no threat or nothing. We don't make sure. We do something, we just do it. And one of the reasons because it does get a little bit challenging when you put in all the work and you don't feel you're getting the support from some quarters. Because a lot of people here who have been here a lot of times, I'm not going to call any name because I get myself in trouble. I call Colin Quest. Can you give me $20 tonight? Colin Quest, thank you. I appreciate it. But a lot of individuals support you and you appreciate them. And you feel you're going to let them down if you don't keep doing what you're doing. But there are a number of people who join your channel and they don't want to hit the like button. They just want to take your material. Some of them want to use it for themselves. Others just want to digest the content and they don't want to support you. And it's not a good thing. We all need to support each other, right? If I go on people's channel, first thing I'm doing is hit the like button. Even if they and I don't get along or anything, and there are a few people, I still go hit the like button because that's how we operate, right? Because I know what it takes to be in this forum and how much work it takes if you want to do the show the right way, how much research you have to do, how much information you have to digest, how much sources you have to go and check before you come and speak in these forums. Because you know you're going to get checked if you don't come with your facts right. You'll get checked. Because a lot of people here knows the facts. They're in the same environment you're in. They're reading the same information. So when you come and provide information, you have to come correct. But at the end of the day, I still enjoy the conversations. I want each of you to support each other, whatever you're doing in all your endeavors. And importantly, we can agree to disagree. It's very important that we can agree to disagree. We can't live in this alternate world we see in the US today, where one set of people believe they have all the answers. It's all about them. Nobody else in the world matters. And they treat everybody like, you know what? Like they don't matter. Right? And my last point is this. For those at SportsMax, we are sorry to see you go. It is very disheartening when you have a job and you lose that job, especially for a job that you love and that you appreciate. It's very disheartening. More importantly, the Caribbean is losing an institution that has provided them content for over 20 years, since 2002. And the question is, what's going to be the replacement? Who's going to step up and fill that void that area that's been vacated, fill that void that's now been put in place because SportsMax is no longer there because Digicel, the majority owner, I decided that they want to sort of revamp their business. I'm not going to beat Digicel because people have to make decisions based on profitability. If you're not making money, if you're working a job, you're not making any money and you can't pay your bills, you're going to change jobs. Well, they decide to come out of the business because it's not working for them. So let's hope that that gap is filled by other organizations or other content providers that can satisfy the audiences who love that space, who love sport. And it's important that we support each other. All right, everyone. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here and hope you have a wonderful evening. Peace out. Kranky Life is the best to be now for the best sports talk and it's free, yo. Kranky Life will be your guiding light by keeping you informed both day and night. Kranky Life, tell them. Kranky Life, heed them. Kranky Life, want them. Kranky Life. From the course to the field, we'll never lose because Kranky has the hottest news. With expert analysis, we break it down. Our in-depth coverage is best in town. Kranky Life, tell them. Kranky Life, heed them. Kranky Life, want them. Kranky Life. Kranky Life, where the sports is spicy and where we keep the discussion lively. Kranky Life, get to know the name because Kranky analysis is never lame. Kranky Life, give me my Kranky Life. I want my Kranky Life. Must have my Kranky Life. Whether it's football or track and field, you know Kranky is at the wheel. So join the journey through victory and defeat and subscribe and don't miss a beat of Kranky Life. Tell them, Kranky Life. Heed them, Kranky Life. Want them, Kranky Life. If you're from England or USA, from Kingston or Bombay, from Kenya or Canada, Lagos or Havana, visit Kranky Live. Tune into Kranky Live. Like up Kranky Live. Subscribe to Kranky Live. Cranky life. Coming to you on weekdays, cranky life sometimes on Sundays. Pull up a chair and take a seat because cranky will always bring the heat. Cranky life, me say fi tell them cranky life. Me say fi eat them cranky life. On them, cranky life. Cranky life will be around. Cranky life is the best in town. Me say fi eat them, me say fi want them. Me say fi eat them, want them, eat them, want them. Cranky life. Cranky life. Eat them, want them, eat them, want them. Cranky life. Cranky life. Eat them, want them, eat them, want them, eat them, want them. Cranky life. Cranky life. Cranky. Eat them, want them, eat them, want them. Eat, want, eat them.